The rain was relentless, drumming on the roof of Sligo's community center like a toddler with a new drum set. Finn Callahan, all elbows and untied shoelaces, ducked inside, shaking water from his dark curls. At 16, he was the kind of kid who could trip over his own optimism and land in a puddle of doubt. His sketchbook, stuffed in his backpack, was his lifeline, pages filled with jagged cliffs and half-finished faces, each line a quiet rebellion against the monotony of school. But tonight, as he slipped into the art club, his stomach churned. Something was off. The air felt heavy, like the moment before a fight breaks out at a pub. "Finn, you're late again," said Tara O'Malley, his best friend, her red braid swinging as she waved a paintbrush like a sword. Tara was all fire and freckles, the kind of person who could convince you to jump into Lough Gill just to see if the swans would notice. Beside her stood Liam Kelly, their lanky friend with a grin that could charm a sheep. "Thought you'd drowned out there," Liam said, smirking. "Almost did," Finn muttered, dropping his bag. "Ma'am says if I ruin another jacket, I'm washing dishes till I'm 30, he added. He scanned the room, expecting the usual chaos of paint cans and chatter. Instead, the club was quiet. The other kids huddled around a new face, a woman in her 30s, all sharp angles and dark glasses, her coat dripping like she'd swum the Garavogue River to get here. "That's Miss Brennan," Tara whispered, leaning close. "New art teacher," she continued. "Showed up yesterday, no warning," she said. "Says she's from Dublin, but she's got this weird vibe, like she's hiding from the guards," Tara added. Finn squinted. Miss Brennan was scribbling on a clipboard, her movements too precise, like she was decoding a secret message. Her scarf was knotted oddly, hiding half her face, and her eyes darted to the door every few seconds. "She looks like she's planning a bank heist," Finn said, half joking, but his gut twisted. He'd learned to trust that feeling, the one that told him when DA was about to lose his temper, or when a teacher was hiding a pop quiz. "Bet she's a spy," Liam said, smirking. "Or maybe she's on the run," he added. "Stole a painting from the National Gallery." "Yeah," Liam grinned. Tara rolled her eyes. "You watch too many films, Liam," she said. "She's probably just nervous," Tara suggested. "New town, new job," she added. But Finn wasn't so sure. He'd grown up in Sligo, where everyone knew your business before you did. Strangers stood out like a seagull in a henhouse, and Miss Brennan was strange. He pulled out his sketchbook, doodling her silhouette, those glasses, that scarf, the way she gripped her pen like a weapon. Something about her didn't add up. 2 years ago, Finn had misjudged his cousin Rory, a quiet kid who'd moved to Sligo after his parents' messy divorce. Finn had pegged him as stuck-up, ignoring him at school. One day, he'd caught Rory crying behind the bike shed, clutching a photo of his old house. Finn had stayed, awkward but listening, and learned Rory wasn't aloof, just heartbroken. They'd been close ever since, but the guilt of that snap judgment still stung. Finn shook off the memory, his pencil pausing on Miss Brennan's sketch. Not again, he thought. But suspicion was a hard habit to break. That night, Finn couldn't sleep. The rain had stopped, leaving Sligo's streets slick and silver under the moon. He sat by his window, sketching Miss Brennan's face, adding exaggerated shadows to make her look like a villain from one of Liam's. Why was she so secretive? He'd overheard her on the phone after art club, her voice low. "I can't stay long. They'll find it," she'd said. Find what? A stolen masterpiece? A secret code? His imagination was running wild, but he couldn't shake the feeling she was hiding something big. The next day at school, Finn, Tara, and Liam huddled in the canteen, picking at chips. "I saw her at the Abbey," Tara said, her eyes wide. "She was sketching the ruins. But when I waved, she stuffed her notebook in her bag and practically sprinted away," she explained. "Definitely dodgy," Liam said, stealing a chip. "Bet she's hiding a treasure map," he said. "Pirate gold buried under the Abbey," he added, grinning. Finn snorted. "You're daft," he said. "But seriously, she's not right." Finn continued. "We need to find out what she's up to," he insisted. His voice was firm, but inside, he wavered. Was he being paranoid? Like with Rory? Or was Miss Brennan really trouble? "Spy on her?" Tara asked, hesitant. "Finn, we don't even know her," she said. "Maybe she's just private," she suggested. "Private people don't act like they're in a thriller." Finn shot back. "Come on, Tara," he urged. "You saw her," he said. "Liam's in, right?" Finn asked. Liam grinned. "Born ready," he said. "Let's catch ourselves a villain," he added. Tara sighed, but nodded. "Fine," she said. "But if we get caught, I'm blaming you two jits," she warned. Their plan was simple: tail Miss Brennan after school, check her notebook, and figure out her deal. Finn felt a thrill, like he was stepping into one of his sketches, a hero on a quest. But a small voice, the one that remembered Rory's tears, whispered, "What if you're wrong?" The next week was a blur of rain-soaked stakeouts and whispered theories. Finn, Tara, and Liam followed Miss Brennan around Sligo, from the Yates Memorial to the quays, always keeping their distance. She was slippery, always checking her surroundings, her scarf pulled tight even in the sun. One evening, they trailed her to a small community center on the edge of town, where she taught an art class for kids. Finn peeked through a window, expecting something sinister, but saw only crayons and laughter. Still, her guarded demeanor kept his suspicions alive. "Those kids love her," Tara said, frowning. "Maybe she's not a villain," she suggested. "Maybe she's just weird," she added. "Weird's a start," Finn muttered, sketching the community center in his book. He added Miss Brennan's figure, her glasses glinting like warning lights. "We need that notebook," he said. "It's got answers," he insisted. Finn remembered his first art teacher, Mr. Doyle, who'd encouraged his sketching but had a habit of disappearing. Finn had assumed he was lazy, until he'd found Mr. Doyle in the staff room, head in hands, grieving his wife's death. Finn had never told anyone, but the memory taught him that weird often hid pain. Now, watching Miss Brennan, he wondered if he was missing something again. Their break came on a windy Thursday. Miss Brennan left her bag unattended in the art room during a school assembly. Finn, heart-pounding, slipped inside with Tara and Liam. The notebook was there, tucked under a pile of paintbrushes. Finn flipped it open, expecting coded messages or sinister plans. Instead, he found sketches, haunting, jagged lines of Sligo's cliffs, faces twisted in grief, and one recurring image, a broken locket, drawn over and over. "Bloody hell," Liam whispered. "She's good," he said. "But why's it all so sad?" he asked. Tara pointed to a page with tiny scrawled words. "They can't know. Not yet." "What's that mean?" she asked, her voice shaky. Finn's mind raced. "She's hiding something," he said. "Maybe she stole that locket," he suggested. "Or it's evidence of something worse," he added. But even as he said it, his stomach twisted. The drawings felt personal, not criminal. That night, They followed Miss Brennan to the community center again. Finn spotted her talking to a young girl, maybe 10, who clutched a drawing of the same locket. Miss Brennan's face softened. A rare crack in her guarded mask. Finn felt a pang empathy. Maybe, but pushed it down. "We need to confront her," he said. "Get the truth." He insisted. Tara grabbed his arm. "Finn, slow down," she said. "What if we're wrong?" she asked. "What if she's just hurting?" She added. "Hurting people don't sneak around like that?" Finn snapped, but his voice lacked conviction. Liam, usually the joker, was quiet, his eyes on Miss Brennan as she hugged the girl goodbye. The next day, Finn's impatience boiled over. At art club, he cornered Miss Brennan, holding up her notebook. "What's this about?" he demanded. "The locket? The secrets? What are you hiding?" he asked, his voice echoing in the quiet room. The other kids stared, wide-eyed. Miss Brennan's face went pale, her glasses slipping down her nose. "Finn, you don't understand," she started. "Then explain," he demanded, his cheeks hot. Tara and Liam stood frozen, torn between loyalty and doubt. Miss Brennan took a deep breath, her hands trembling. "Fine," she said, "but not here." She added, "Meet me at the community center tonight," she instructed. "Bring your friends," she said. "You'll get your answers," she promised. Finn recalled a fight with his DA, who'd yelled at him for skipping chores. Finn had thought him cruel, until Ma'am explained Da's stress. His fishing boat was failing, and he was terrified of losing their home. Finn had hugged him that night, seeing the fear behind the anger. Now, facing Miss Brennan, he wondered if he'd misjudged again. That evening, the trio arrived at the community center, nerves jangling. Miss Brennan sat at a table, her scarf gone, revealing a faint scar on her neck. Her notebook lay open, the locket sketch glaring up at them. "You want the truth?" she said, her voice soft but steady. "Then listen," she added. She told them about her sister, Aisling, who'd died in a car accident 2 years ago in Dublin. The locket was Aisling's, a gift from their mother, now lost in the wreck. Miss Brennan had moved to Sligo to escape the memories, teaching art to kids like Aisling once was, hoping to heal. The sketches were her way of processing grief. The secrecy was because she wasn't ready to share her pain with a town full of strangers. "I'm not a spy or a thief," she said, a wry smile breaking through. "Just a woman trying to start over," she added. Finn's face burned. He'd been so sure she was a villain, but her story hit like a wave. Tara's eyes were wet, and Liam shuffled awkwardly, muttering, "We're proper gobshites, aren't we?" "I'm sorry," Finn said, his voice small. I don't know what I thought," he admitted. Miss Brennan nodded. "You're kids," she said. "You're curious," she added. "But next time, try asking before you play detective," she advised, a hint of humor in her tone. The weeks that followed were humbling. Finn, Tara, and Liam threw themselves into making amends. They helped Miss Brennan organize an art exhibition for her community center kids, turning the old hall into a riot of color. Finn sketched posters, Tara handled logistics, and Liam charmed local shops into donating supplies. The work wasn't easy. Finn's pride stung every time he saw Miss Brennan's scar, but it felt right. Finn remembered helping Rory rebuild his confidence by inviting him to art club. Rory's shy smile when he'd shown his first sketch had taught Finn that small gestures could mean everything. Now, he saw the same spark in the community center. Kids, their drawings full of hope. The exhibition was a hit. Sligo's townsfolk crowded the hall, oohing and ahing over the kid's art. Finn watched Miss Brennan laugh with a girl who'd drawn a bright, messy locket, and his chest ached. Not with guilt, but with something warmer. He'd been wrong, but he'd learned. Tara nudged him, grinning. Not bad for a bunch of jits, eh? She said. Liam, munching a scone, added, next time, let's spy on someone actually evil. Like the lad who nicks my chips, he joked. Finn laughed. The sound lighter than it had been in weeks. He sketched the scene in his mind. The hall, the kids, Miss Brennan's quiet strength. He'd add it to his book later, a reminder of what he'd gained. That night, Finn sat on Sligo's strand, the Atlantic whispering against the shore. The stars were out sharp and endless. He thought of Miss Brennan, of Rory, of all the people he'd misjudged. He wasn't perfect. He'd probably mess up again, but he'd try harder to see the person behind the shadows. Finn pulled out his sketchbook, drawing the stars over Benbulben. He didn't know what lay ahead, school, friendships, maybe even new mysteries. But he felt ready. Somewhere out there, people were carrying their own hidden stories, and Finn vowed to listen. He smiled, tucking his pencil away, the future bright as the Sligo sky.